Hello and welcome to another episode of the DTF Podcast.
Hey, I got a bone to pick.
Guys, I am so fired up.
Sleep deprived and all, I'm happy to be here.
You probably cut up your hot dog. You don't need it on a bun.
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to another episode of the DTF Podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. And ladies and gentlemen, what is that? That is a bracket
that looks awful lot like a bracket right there.
That is a bracket right there, folks. We got a bracket, and here's what we're going to do today on the podcast. We are going to fill out a DTF Podcast bracket. We have 3 people on this show. You can see them right there. 1, 2, 3, right? Oh. And that means that if we all vote, there's no possible way for it to be a tie. So somebody has to get through no matter what happens.
Right.
Might get crazy. Might get bonkers. I already know who Fanta has in the Elite 8 in the South region. So we'll see if he can get that vote through. We'll see what happens, but we're going to make this thing work. T.O., I'm going to give you first choice on which region we start with. Where do you want to go first?
East.
You want to go to the East? All right. We have Duke playing the winner of American and Mount St. Mary's. I think we all know what's happening there.
Duke.
After the Mount gets it done. I like Donnie Lynn's team. I think they get a first 4 victory for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Shout out to Dola Adebayo, but the Duke Blue Devils will advance to the second round.
I just like Donnie Lynn, so I'm happy that hopefully he
like
gets
Donnie Lynn.
For the record, the American Eagles are winning that game.
How about that?
The American Eagles are winning that game. Dwayne Simpkins is going to get himself a win in the NCAA tournament. Shout out to Dwayne Simpkins, man. One of my favorite guys in college basketball.
Hey, also Julian Iturbe plays, and he's from 15 minutes down the road from me. He plays for American, comes off the bench. Good player. Dad played at Clemson.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Dude.
The 8-9 game in this region, this is where it might start getting weird. We got Mississippi State and we got Baylor. Baylor is 4-6 without Josh Anjianmuna. I hope I got that name right. We call him Big Josh around these parts. T.O., who you got? Terrence?
I heard nothing. Everything just went out right there.
Okay. Josh, Baylor or Mississippi State? Who's winning?
I'm going Mississippi State. I think they'll out-tough them.
Yeah, I don't love the way Mississippi State is playing, entering the tournament, having given up 85 to Missouri and 93 to Arkansas and 87 to Texas and 111 to Alabama. But I'm going to take Josh Hubbard. I think he's the best player on the floor in this game. Baylor just has not been able to find any sort of defensive identity throughout the season. And they can be bullied. They can be pushed around, which is hard to believe. I am going to go with the Bulldogs.
It is a clean sweep. Mississippi State is advancing. Oregon and Liberty. And I'm going to set this up for you guys. I think Liberty wins this game. I think that Oregon's got a small enough backcourt that Colin Porter and Caden Matheny are not going to get pushed around. I think that the addition of Owen Aquino in the offseason will probably provide enough size inside to deal with Nate Biddle. And I think Richie McKay is due. They play that same kind of slow it down, pack line. We're not going to get offensive rebounds. You're not going to run in transition on us. It's going to be frustrating dealing with it. And I think that Liberty pulls off the 12-5 upset. T.O., are you with me?
You know what? I did a game for Liberty, and those small guards are a hassle. Porter, Matheny, both of those guys are good players. And they've been small their entire life. Like, it's nothing new to them. They're used to being small against bigger dudes, and they've always had success. And I'm going to be honest, like, this is a bad matchup for Oregon because you have to be really disciplined against Liberty. Not going to be an easy thing. I think they're going to be favored by 4.5, 5 points. I actually think Liberty wins this game outright because the style of play, how their offense matches their defense. And sometimes, like when these bigger teams play against these smaller teams, they feel like they have an advantage right away. And what happens is they get out over their skis trying to make plays because they feel like they're bigger, and it just doesn't work out that way. Liberty's really good at just stopping guys in their tracks. Zach Cleveland, we talk about those smaller guards. Zach Cleveland's a good player too. Oregon's talented, but I think Liberty wins this one because they're a hassle to play against.
Liberty, 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 Liberty.
So the point doesn't matter. I put Oregon in my bracket. And I think that Dana Altman is consistently one of the higher variance coaches with a program that you're going to get when you're making bracket picks. If you had Oregon right now in the Elite Eight, I wouldn't mind it because of what their pod looks like and what else could. No, I mean, I'm saying, like, you don't know. They got hot and won the Players Era tournament.
Fair. I'll give you that.
Their best is good enough to compete with some of the best.
I agree with that.
I'd be surprised if Duke lost. Yeah, I agree with that. But like, look, if you look at Oregon on the offensive end of the floor, it's been a year where, yeah, it's a top 40 group efficiency wise, but when Nate Biddle's your leading scorer, no offense, but the guard play has been inconsistent, as has the 3-point shooting. You know, TJ Bamba's at 25%. Keyshawn Barthelemy got to give them a really good tournament. Like he's got to perform at a high level. And I think Shellstad or Barthelemy, whichever one of those two steps up. But you're right. I mean, the thing is with Liberty, they average 10 threes per game. And between Peter and Caden, is it Metheny or Metheny?
Metheny.
Caden Metheny, they play a deliberate, attentive to detail style that is very, very difficult to scout for and go up against. Hard to simulate that. Liberty has much a shot of anybody. So I picked Oregon, but I fully support the DTF bracket pick of Liberty because I do think Coach McKay is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. His team will be,
my guy.
If nothing else, Rob and Terrence, this will be close late.
Yep, I agree. Fanta, we'll go to you first. Arizona, Akron. In the are you gonna? Those are your Ohio boys, right?
And I'm taking them. I am taking John Gross and Akron to pull off an opening round shocker. And Tommy Lloyd's NCAA tournament struggles continue. Yes,
Tio, I'm just gonna say for the record, I have Arizona, so I'm gonna let this. This is coming down. This is coming down to Terrence.
I'm talking madness. Nate and Tavari Johnson combined for 27 points per game. Tavari's shooting close to 40% from three. Akron's averaging 85 points per game on the season. 85 per game on the season.
Yep. I'm going to be honest with you. Since conference play started, Akron has been crushing it. And obviously that league, the MAC, is not an easy league to play in. It's rough. It's physical. I'm just, to be honest with you too, like, you know, Trey Townsend, he's from that part of the country. He understands like what that league's about. But I think Tobe Awaka needs to play well. But I'm going Akron. I think Gross. I like it. I like the way that league gets you ready.
We have a 12 and a 13 winning.
Yep. I said that yesterday on the show.
Every month should be March.
Yep.
Way to stay committed, man.
Here we go. One of my favorite matchups in the entire first round of the tournament. I am going to be glued to the television when this game comes on. VCU is underrated in terms of where their seed is. They are playing as like an 8-9 seed kind of a team, and they're here at an 11. BYU has been one of the best teams in college basketball, top 10 team in college basketball in the last month, and they're a 6 seed. They're playing in Denver. Easier trip for BYU, but VCU, doesn't matter, man. Those toughness travels, right? So, Terrence, we will go to you first on this one. Do you have the Cougars? Do you have the Rams? Who you got?
I am going BYU for no other reason than I want to see BYU play Wisconsin in that second round. That's what I want to see. That's what I think is going to be a lot of fun to see. This game's also being played at elevation. You made that point yesterday, Doster. BYU is used to that type of elevation. I think BYU wins this one in a knockdown dragout because I think VCU's collective size matches up well with BYU compared to other teams. It's going to be a great game, but I want to go BYU in this one.
Since 2018, in 6 versus 11 games,
500.
It's 500, 12 and 12. Give me the 6 here. I think it's a poor draw for VCU. They have to go all the way out there west, coming off the Sunday conference championship game. BYU is just in rhythm right now, guys. Richie Saunders is on another level. Remember, they got a defensive Swiss Army knife to try to guard one of the VCU guards. We know that Scholga's at the top of that, but Mawat Mag can pick somebody up defensively and really try to take them on the game. And I think BYU, out of the 5, 6, 7 seeds in this, they might have the best shot to go on a run.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Wisconsin, Montana. By the way, BYU is a sweep. Sweep them up. Wisconsin, Montana. Fanta. Montana have a chance here?
I don't think so. I think that Wisconsin will certainly come ready. My takeaway from Wisconsin on Sunday, Terrence, was how well they defended Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden for the majority of the game. Like, I learned something about their toughness. And on an off day for Tanjay, they still had a shot to win it. Montana, remarkable program on the Big Sky that has been a consistent winner. And they got a great name, Money Williams. Can you just hear that name going to break on CBS and Turner later this week? Money Williams.
He's got to get hot, man. He's got to get hot.
He's got to get hot.
He's got to get hot. We just need at least one stretch where like he has a big dunk and then bangs home a 3, and so the announcer can be like, Money Williams taking it to the bank, and then you head to break. That's what we need. That's what we need right there. I have Wisconsin too, by the way. So T.O., your vote doesn't even matter here. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. I'm just gonna put Alabama through. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah.
We'll put Alabama through. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. This is a tough one. All right. I think St. Mary's finds a way to be able to get this done. And I know it's the WCC, and I know they're a little short on talent, but they got so much size inside. Paulus Morauskas has been one of the more underrated transfers that we've seen. And Augustus Marshallonis is a guy, Panda, we're going to talk about this tonight on After Dark. He's a guy that's a mid-major player that could end up being a superstar and really explode in this tournament if he has the right kind of run here. I'm taking the Gales, T.O.
Here's the thing. I love the guard matchup of AJ Hogard and Marshallonis. That was the thing that stuck out to me right away. Marshallonis is a bad boy, and he reminds me a lot more of his dad than people realize. When his dad played for Run TMC, he came off the bench and was a really good player, just kind of a bully guard. So I think that matchup's going to be fun. One thing that St. Mary's does do is they board. How is Vanderbilt going to be able to do that? Going to be able to compete against that? I would actually lean more towards St. Mary's just because they rebound 40% of their offensive rebounds.
SMC, they are through, Fanta. They are through.
Big fights. St. Mary's is 359 in tempo. Vanderbilt is 64th. Whoever wins the tempo battle wins the game.
All right, so let's continue on the tempo battle. Let's stay right there. St. Mary's against Alabama. If St. Mary's can slow this thing down against Nate Oates in Alabama, they got a chance, Fanta?
I thought Alabama got one of the most favorable draws in the entire bracket in the first weekend. I think they have I think we're going to come out of the first weekend and we're going to be talking about how Alabama looks like they've returned to form and they look primed to give Duke everything they can handle and more. Tide. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide?
Roll Tide.
All right. T.O., you said you wanted to see this matchup. You called for it. You begged for it, and you got it. BYU, Wisconsin, in Denver at elevation. Break it down for me, man.
That last part makes me nervous because Wisconsin got visibly tired during that last game. You could definitely see that. I actually going to go. This is a tough one because I really like Wisconsin. I'm going Wisconsin. A lot of scoring. John Tanjay gets to the line. He's going to be able to slow it down. It's going to be basically a home game for BYU because a lot of people travel up from Salt Lake or over from. I don't know the geography of the whole thing, but
it's kind of down. It's down into
same
the
difference.
Down to
I don't. I've been so many places in the last 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. I'm going to go Wisconsin just because I'm sticking with my picks, sticking to my guns.
Yep. Fanta, this is going to be on you because I have BYU winning this game. I think that their physicality, their toughness, Mawat Mag is going to turn the water off for John Tanji, which is not easy to do, but he can do it. I have BYU winning, which means it all comes down to you. BYU, Wisconsin.
Well, when I look at this game, it comes down to which supporting cast steps up more. So can Max Klesmet and John Blackwell be able to deliver things if Tanjay is getting taken away? And then on the other side, Richie Saunders has been getting his. But to me, they're really BYU is very dangerous when Trevin Cannell is knocking down threes. He's shooting 43% from downtown. When he gives them some three-point shooting, it changes everything with their team. These are two top 15 offensive squads. And I think this game could get decided at the buzzer. I think that BYU is the trendy, hot pick. But in my bracket, I picked Wisconsin. So I'm going to go with the Badgers here to grind it out and do just enough. I think they got a little bit more experience. I think they're motivated off the Big Ten championship game loss. And as hot as BYU's been, I can't believe my mouth is saying this. It came in a little bit of a weaker Big 12. I like Wisconsin.
Fana, here's my question. You said that this is going to be on a buzzer beater. Call it right now. Make the prediction. Who hits the buzzer beater? Who hits the game winner?
Well, I'm going to go with John Tonje.
Tonje game winner.
I think
all right, we're saving this. I'm writing down the timestamp right here, okay? I'm writing down the timestamp. If John Tonje hits a game winner to beat BYU and get Wisconsin into the Sweet 16, you are picking my lottery numbers for Monday morning. Deal?
I think John Blackwell does.
You think it's Black?
I think Mawat Mag does. I think he hits it because I think Mag's going to be all over John Tonje, so it's going to have to be somebody else. What do you think?
What's going to be funny? BYU is going to win, and I'm just going to take all the victory laps. I'm not going to worry about this.
There you go.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Duke is not losing to Mississippi State, so I'm just going to put them through to the next round. Liberty.
That'll be a tough game, though. That'll be closer than people realize because
Josh Hubbard is 5'3". That's going to be
sounds hard. Like you're saying it could be like a UCF Duke from 2019 first weekend or 19. Yeah, it was
2019. But that was a very specific, like, you didn't have to guard Trey Jones, and the guy that they didn't guard him with was a 7'5" NBA player. So like that was a matchup that was kind of specific. Liberty Akron. Give me something, T.O.
Wow. Liberty and Richie McKay finally get some due as a head coach because he has been winning for so long. And people will finally look at him and be like, you know what? Maybe I should interview him for that job.
All right. I'm going with Liberty too. Sorry, Fanta. Your vote has been
I'm going to go with Liberty 3 actually on that game.
And does Liberty have a chance against Duke?
No.
Two 5'9" guards? No.
Say goodnight. And then you know what'll happen? You know what'll happen then? All the casuals be like, they've had an easy path. This team's not very good.
They're overrated. It's just freshmen. They're blowing everybody out. They steamrolled the ACC. There's no way this team is any good.
I just don't like T.O. This is going to happen Thursday and Friday when somebody doesn't play well. And it's like they didn't belong in. Yeah. Or if Carolina wins.
No, they just played like ass their first
God.
game.
I mean, we're not there yet. I can't wait to get there because you have to give a thought, my friend, my bald friend in the South. You have to give a thought on the other bald man who got included in the field.
We're talking North Carolina. I just find the hypocrisy amazing. You don't value the ACC because you put Louisville at an 8 seed, and now they're ranked 11th in the AP poll.
That's BS, man. They should have been higher.
That's crazy. And then you include North Carolina.
I agree.
In a 1 and 12 in quad 1. What's important? Brand or
Look,
what
I'll say this. Here's my take on North Carolina. You can make a justification for any of those teams on the bubble, right? And if you get left out in this year's bubble, I don't think you really have a complaint because you didn't do enough. Boise State, don't lose to Boston College, right? West Virginia, don't lose to Colorado in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. Like Indiana, don't get 30-pieced 8 different times this season where people looked like it looked like you just quit on your team, right? There's no real, I don't think anyone has a real complaint. There's a justification for any team. You can point to whatever stat you want. The problem is when you have a semi-controversial addition And the guy that is the committee chair is the athletic director of the blue blood that gets put in with a 1-12 quad 1 record. It just stinks of corruption, and it does not look like it's on the up and up. And that is the problem. You cannot have a guy as the committee chair that is that has oh, he wasn't in the room when they discussed North Carolina. No, but he talked about North Carolina every time they were discussing any other bubble team.
Having snack time.
Yeah,
right.
like it's
like
the
anything.
appearance. The appearance is the problem.
No, it's like anything. If you have a meeting in your company, a lot of the actual work to get things executed happens at the water cooler or the bar that night. Come on now.
Yep. All right. Wisconsin, Alabama.
Hey, just for the I just don't understand what the thing is. And here's another thing too. Like, at what point is the NCAA become a participation thing when it comes to high ranking games and their schedule? Nobody gives a crap about your schedule. You got to win the games on your schedule. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing too, like, you want to talk about that something crazy unfair? Nike and all these opening champions, they schedule for them. The other schools don't have the option to get all those quad one opportunities. So they get them and they lose all of them. The only one they beat was a bad UCLA team who's in the tournament coincidentally. But when you talk about a win of quality, that's not really one in my mind. I understand the metrics, all that stuff, whatever. But to me, that didn't make sense when you compare it directly to West Virginia. And when West Virginia deserved to be in that field, now the governor needs to go dig a hole because like that now it's just like it's ridiculous, like enough. But at the same time, I don't understand how any of this makes sense. How you can speak out of both sides of your mouth and not value the ACC, but Louisville as an 8 seed, even though they are playing in Lexington, and we could talk about that later, and then give North Carolina a bid when they couldn't even hold their pants up in conference. Like, what are we? Do you just get credit for scheduling well? Because I thought the credit belonged to the guys who won games when they scheduled well. It's not fair. It's unjust to West Virginia. And if you've given us a set of parameters, and I'm doing work for the ACC network this week, like it's not what should have happened. And how they can look in the mirror and feel good about that decision is beyond me. Now, they play San Diego State. Could they beat San Diego State? They could. I don't think they will. But like, it's just one of these things where I can't believe at the expense of somebody else, you get to just put somebody in because you felt like it. That's what it looks like. But, here's, there was a couple of comments made nationally when it comes to why are we paying attention to the 30th and 35th best team in the country? Guys, I'm 37 years old. I still brag about the fact that I played 2 years in college and I made the tournament both years. That's what defines your season. Is it a good season? Is it a bad season? That's what defines your season. Did you make the tournament? Yeah, we made the tournament. Man, you guys must have been good. Mm-hmm. West Virginia now doesn't get to go to the tournament. Man, was their season bad in 20 years? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. So, like, that's kind of the thing that shocks me with the whole thing is just how flippant some of this was.
Every bracketologist had them in. Had West Virginia in.
Yeah.
Javon Small's been an All-American. Do not tell me you left them out because they didn't prove something without Tucker DeVries. When they did, they won at Kansas. They were down multiple key players. They beat Iowa State in Morgantown. Like, come on, man.
Yep. We see what's happening. Wisconsin, Alabama.
I just can't. It would be a fascinating game. And I actually think Wisconsin matches up okay with Alabama because I think that Wisconsin can get the game slowed down. I think that they can grind things out on the interior. They've got the size factor. They actually have some versatility on the wings. And if they can shut down Youngblood and Filan from deep, size factor, they actually have some versatility on the wings. And if they can shut down Youngblood and Filan from deep, maybe it gets interesting. And maybe Alabama goes sideways. But that's the formula for Greg Gard, is that his team out-defends Alabama and almost gets them sped up to a point that they start causing self-inflicted errors. That's the one danger with Alabama's playing style. Sometimes it backfires. But, man, that team went into the jungle and won. And I know they got steamrolled by Florida. We're going to talk about Florida later. Give me the Tide. I am not backing off Mark Sears right now. I'm not backing off Alabama.
Yeah, I'm actually, Tio, I don't know if you're going to disagree with anything here, but I'm going with Alabama as well. And I just think that Wisconsin is trying to do what Alabama does, and I don't think you can beat Alabama trying to do what they do. So
Agreed.
I'm with Alabama here. Duke,
Agreed.
Alabama, champion of the East Region. Tio.
It's going to be a hell of a game, and I hope we get it. I think Duke wins. I just feel like their collective size, they're just as fast as Alabama, but bigger. And they've got LeBaron Fallon, they got Grant Nelson. The Grant Nelson Cooper Flag matchup would be interesting. What's that section of Total Wine that's there? Exciting Whites. That's going to be right there in front of us at the 4 spot. So it's I think it's going to be fun to I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I think the difference is going to be Con Knippel and how good he is with the ball in his hands when he needs to play make. And that's where I'm going. So I'm going Duke.
Yeah, people still don't realize how good he is. Fanta, do you disagree?
Duke takes things away from your offense and extends out on the perimeter and makes you work for everything you get. And if you're going to beat Alabama, you have to be up in them. You have to make them uncomfortable when they're on offense, because if you allow them to get comfortable, there's not many teams that can beat them when they get rolling. Duke's not going to allow that. I believe that Kava Malawach's rim protection. I believe that Tyrese Proctor shows his ability to remain composed under pressure. And I believe that if I'm looking at the two teams, at the end of the day, Duke has the best player on the hardwood. And I don't think Alabama has a great matchup for him. Give me Duke.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. Bet insurance tokens, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two here or there. Be sure to keep your eye out in the app for the Field of 68 specials that we'll be running throughout the season as well. So go download the BetMGM app to sign up today. College basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that you know are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light. Now is your chance to prove you're smarter than the Field of 68. We're hosting a Survivor contest with our partner Splash Sports. There's a $25 entry fee, a 25 entry max in the contest, and more than 1,700 spots available, which means there's a $40,000 max prize for the winner. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Each day you pick a team to win. If they win, you advance. We'll also be running a free to enter bracket contest as well as a second chance Survivor in the Sweet 16. So prove you know more ball than the Field of 68 on Splash Sports. Let's head to the Midwest. Houston, SIUE, Fanta.
Cougars. The Cougars start a big run.
Houston.
T.O. SIU's got no shot? No, nothing?
Nothing.
Not a fan of Brian Baroni? Wow, I'm going to tell him.
Like Brian, Houston's a wagon.
Yep. Gonzaga and Georgia. I think this is a really interesting one. You got a top 10 KenPom team going up against a team that got a lot of big wins in the SEC this year. T.O., can your Southern boys get it done?
I think they can. Give me Georgia. Antonio Reels-Dean's got those guys ready to go. Give me the Bulldogs. I think they're seasoned. They're calloused over from playing SEC play. I like Georgia over Gonzaga. I haven't really been a Gonzaga fan all year, and I think they got Asa Noel and some guys that can really play.
Wow, would that be something? I mean, I'll tell you what. If Silas Demery and Blue Kane can turn it on and keep the biggest key to facing Gonzaga is you can't let Ryan Nembhard get the ball on a string and just be in total control. And then if Battle's knocking down shots and Ike's controlling the paint, I'm a little concerned about Georgia being able to box out and keep Graham Ike from controlling the game like he controlled the WCC tournament. But this is different. Georgia's seen it all, right? They're much more battle tested than Gonzaga. But I'm going to make it dramatic and pick the Zags.
Well, all the pressure's on me now. I will tell you this, okay? Let me make sure I bring it up so I have it in front of me. You mentioned his name. The most important player in my mind on Georgia is Silas Demery. Yeah. And he's a guy that's a talented player, right? He's a sophomore. And he was someone that I penciled at the start of the year. Like, you know what, this guy, maybe he could take a leap next season. Maybe he could be a breakout player next season. Well, since February 8th, he scored at least 16 points in every game that they've played. He's gone over 20 in 4 of those 8 games. And he has made the leap. He has turned into the star guard that they need. And I just don't know who on Gonzaga slows him down. I think Silas Demery shows up. I think he puts 30 on the Zags, and the Bulldogs make it through. Ugga to the second round.
I like it.
How is that that's a big pick because there's a lot of people that are taking the Zags to knock off Houston.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Zags are not beating Houston. I'm sorry.
A lot of people.
I'm sorry. I love you, Mark Few. Gonzaga is one of the best programs that we've seen in college basketball forever, but like they're not beating Houston. I'm sorry.
We're doing a bang up job of speeding this up.
Yeah. T.O. Clemson, Will Wade, McNeese State. What do you got?
A lot of people are going to have this as the trendy upset pick. It's not going to happen. The older guards, Chase Hunter, Jaden Zachary, Ian Shefflin, Victor Locken, those dudes are huge. They're strong. They're great at taking care of the basketball. Clemson's going to win that game. I think McNeese are going to have a couple of runs in the first half to make it nerve-wracking, but credit to Will. They've had two straight Southland championships, 2 straight regular season Southland champions. They're not beating Clemson. Clemson's a really, really good team.
Yeah, without Allen Breed, McNeese State has to big boy teams, and you can't big boy this Clemson team. So I'm sorry, Fanta, you don't get a vote on this one. Your vote has been cut off. It's 2-0. It's a sweep. It's 2-0. We don't go to a third game here. Clemson advances. But I will give you your first take on Purdue High Point, the Huss Bus. Can the Panthers find a way to get this done? Can they send Braden Smith home early?
They can and they will. In a surprise, the reigning national runner-up. We've seen this trend in college basketball when a team makes an extremely deep run the year before. Ask Tony Bennett how he did in the tournament after a legendary run. Well, Purdue had that type of legendary run, and then they ran into a buzzsaw. I think Keza Giffa, Damarian Williams, who can lighten up from 3, Kamani Hamilton. This is a team that's got different offensive threats. They can shoot the 3 close to 37%. They're going to need that 3-point shooting. I look at it, 3 of their top 4 scorers are 82% or better from the free throw line. That's a team that I want in a close game. And I think that the reason why Purdue is susceptible is because at the end of the day, T.O., these mid-majors, I know that Purdue's got some of the best guard play in America, but guard play can be contained to a degree. And I think Purdue at times can look very predictable offensively with the same 3 guys. Turn one of them off, and then what happens? If Heidi or Cox or somebody else has to deliver, give me High Point.
Yeah, I'm taking High Point too. I'm sorry, T.O. You don't get a vote in this one. Your vote has been taken away. It has been removed. It is pulled from your dead life.
All right, man. Next game. You're good.
I will say this, though. Purdue High Point, the over there is my favorite bet. I think that game's going to get played in the 80s or 90s. So
I agree with that. And hey, keep in mind too, like High Point's transfers have big time experience. Bobby Pettiford comes off the bench for them, and he's a good defensive point guard. So High Point's a lot better than people realize at face value.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Xavier beats Texas. I'm just putting it out there. So our bracket is going to have Xavier taking on Illinois because I want to will that into existence. I think that'd be a fun matchup. T.O., can Sean Miller get past Brad Underwood and absolutely rip the soul out of Trevor Valise's body?
Does the winner of the Xavier Texas game get the head coaching job at Texas?
No comment.
I don't know about that one. We'll
Oh.
see.
Okay.
No comment.
Just curious. Just curious there. No, I think Illinois beats both of those teams. Doesn't matter.
Well, Kasparashek had shown us if he plays his best, he's going to be a real problem for Xavier's defense. That's not going to be kind for Xavier or Texas because of the way that he initiates and the level of upside that he has. And man, I think Will Riley could be a problematic matchup for Xavier defensively because when Will gets cooking, Illinois is really tough, guys. And by the way, Tomislav
He's
this
just
match
a
too.
bad dude. Yeah,
I mean, he's a bad dude. Like Xavier, Fremantle's relied upon to do so much. But I believe in a team catching a wave, and I think Xavier's going to try to make Illinois shoot threes. I'm going to give Xavier the win here in an upset as well.
I dropped my pencil again. You pick Xavier?
Yeah.
Oh, I was ready to give it up.
Let's go, Xavier. Mark it down. X, baby.
You're going with Xavier. Wow.
X marks the spot. Xavier knocks off Illinois. Ryan Conwell's going to go for 35 again in this game.
Well,
Sean Miller takes the Texas job.
Tio, Kentucky and Troy. Do the Trojans have a chance?
Yeah, I think they have a better chance than people realize. They are tough. Scott Krupp's a really good coach, and he's like, it was funny. I did a game for him, and he was like nervous talking to me because he wasn't like super like willing to give up stuff because he's like, well, I don't want people to give it. But he's a good coach. They play hard. They have a certain ruggedness about them. I think Troy can win, especially with Lamont. It seems like Lamont's going to play in that first game. He needs to because Troy's pretty good. We'll see exactly what happens, but I just feel like with Kentucky, there's just so many variables right now. There's just so many ways that something could go awry. That's what it feels like. I think Kentucky wins, but I think it's going to be closer than people realize.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with the two. Troy's tough. Conway's a stud, but I think at the end of the day, Kentucky has just a little bit too much talent. So I'm pulling that out of your hands. I'm putting UK into the second round. We all got Tennessee, right? We all got the Vols. So we'll put the Vols through.
Very favorable draw for Tennessee. I don't trust either the 7 or the 10.
So who do you just real quick? Give me a team. Who wins that game, and then we'll put the
UCLA.
Vols through. You got UCLA.
UCLA wins the game. Utah State has not been great over the last month.
And then Tennessee beats UCLA. I don't think you can out Tennessee, and that's what UCLA is going to try to do. All right, good old Rocky Top into this Sweet 16 where they'll play Kentucky or Xavier. Can Kentucky get past Xavier? Can Kentucky get past Sean Miller, Fanta? Is this where the dream ends?
Of course they could, but I believe in first 4 to Sweet 16, and so I'm taking Xavier to keep the run going. And Ryan Conwell authors a story. The lack of health with Lamont Butler is still concerning to me, and Kentucky defensively is hard to trust at times. Xavier has picked it up defensively, but Xavier will struggle with a team that tries to out-physical and just out-grind them. That's not Kentucky. Mm-mm. And it really isn't Illinois, in my opinion. I thought the draw was favorable for Xavier. More favorable than some others got in this bracket. Give me the X-Men to make their second Sweet 16 in 3 years.
That's where I'm going, too.
Hot. It's about
Xavier? All right, Xavier's through. How about that?
We agree.
Sean Miller in the Sweet 16. I love it. You love to see it. I'll be honest. I think that High Point getting the win against Purdue will be terrific. And then they're going to run into Clemson, and Clemson is not going to let them do anything they want to do, and they're going to get big boyed against Clemson. That's my take. I don't see
Clemson the Sweet 16. I'm down.
Yeah, I think Clemson is very, very good.
Of the non-1s or 2s, Clemson has as good a shot as anybody to make the Final Four. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Hot take.
So I do want to throw a little caution out there. Dylan Hunter broke his hand against Louisville. When he was on the floor, they had the most effective starting 5 in college basketball. According to several metrics. So him out, it doesn't seem like a lot, but he was such a good connective piece and willing just part of the offense that he was able to move his brother off the ball. That scares me because I think he's more valuable than people give him credit for, especially when the game gets deeper into the game. That all being said, Clemson's really good. I think they certainly make it to the Sweet 16.
So all I'll say about that, T.O., is I agree with you, but I don't think that it impacts against McNeese or High Point. I think that they'll be able to.
I agree with
they
that.
get past McNeese or High Point. Can Georgia compete with Houston?
Hey, by the way, sneaky small thing here. Brownell, for all intents and purposes, has been at least right now really talked about to be at the Indiana job. Say he gets Purdue in that second round, like that might be the ultimate audition for him.
There's a line of thinking that the Clemson McNeese State game, the winner gets the Indiana job.
Yeah, but that's insane.
I don't think that's.
I'm mostly kidding.
Play for the concept is kind of weird to me. Like, play for your players of your current team, some of which are like seniors, are now playing for you to get parlayed into a job. It's just a weird, and I know that exists, but like if that were the case, then then Drake would no show.
Because Houston, Georgia. Does Georgia have a chance? I'm saying no. I'm sorry, guys.
But I don't know why. I gotta tell you guys, if freaking, because people are like, you're boring. If Gonzaga were to do that and make a 10th Sweet 16, I will just be flabbergasted because they have not shown it all year.
Yeah, no, I'm with
the streak stops this year.
Yep. Houston, Clemson. That's an interesting one to me. That's a really, really interesting matchup because I think Clemson has some of the physicality and I guess not without
floor spacing. They have the floor spacing.
Yeah, it was floor spacing and multiple handlers, and that's what I think you need against Houston and guys that are not going to get pushed around on the glass. And I don't think anybody on planet Earth is pushing around Victor Locken and Ian Shefflin. Like, those dudes push back. But I just don't know. I don't know if Clemson has enough. I think this Houston team is.
This is the game
legit.
where it would hurt to have Dylan.
Yes.
Where it would help to have Dylan there. I'm still picking Clemson.
You have to. You don't have a choice.
Well, Clemson doesn't get enough credit for how they shut teams down offensively.
Yeah.
They guard, man. They're 16th in KenPom defense. And T.O. and Rob, well, but I think everyone's like, oh yeah, nice story. Brownell's, he's got Hunter, he's got Shefflin, they rebound.
No, they got some bad dudes on that team.
Listen, man, don't let the orange, Tiger logo there confuse you for how gritty they are. Like that team is tough as hell. Houston wins.
So it's all on me.
Yeah.
It's all on me, huh? I actually tend to agree. I think Houston gets this done. I was hoping, Fanta, I was hoping that you would pick Clemson so that I didn't have to sit here and take Houston and break T.O.'s heart. But I think Houston is very, 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 very legit this year. I think that they are the team that's most likely
real legit for a team that relies on left-handed step-back jumpers from L.J. Cryer. That's my biggest concern with Houston this year.
Fair.
Like they take a lot of hard shots, man.
Well, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about that in their next matchup because I think it makes sense if does Tennessee get past Xavier? Fanta, you're the Xavier guy. Can they get
the road ends there? I think that Tennessee gets up in Xavier, disrupts them, and part of the reason why I pick Xavier in a magical run is that I don't think that Kentucky is beating Tennessee in the NCAA tournament if they were to get that far, whoever that is. I think that the Volunteers are built for an Elite Eight run, and so I'll take Tennessee.
Yep, I got Tennessee too. T.O.? Oh, it doesn't even matter. Your vote's been taken away. So you can go first on Houston, Tennessee.
Well, he paused. So
all right, we'll give it to Fanta first on Houston, Tennessee. Well, T.O. just sits there and relies. What do you think he's looking at right now, by the way, Fanta?
He's looking at me and thinking, will he shut up?
And there he goes.
There we go.
Right. All right, guys, we'll just keep it going. Houston or Tennessee? Who you got?
Rob, I can't watch a Houston team that dominated the Big 12 that way. And I know it's one game, And I think it would be an unbelievable game. It almost feels too good to be true if we get Duke, Alabama, and Houston, Tennessee. But it's really hard for me to say that a team that has lost just one game since November 30th isn't destined to reach the Final Four. And it takes balls to pick against them. I'm taking Houston to make the Final Four. I just think that Cryer, Sharp, Uzan, and the guy that doesn't get enough credit is Jawan Roberts. And I think that in this game, the way that Houston, if you're going to beat Tennessee, you have to give them a taste of their own medicine in the paint, which Florida did an elite job of.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to make some individual plays. And Houston has those playmakers.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too. I think Milos Uzan is gonna. This is the game where he kind of makes his name because he's 6'4" and he's going to be guarded by Zakai Ziegler here. So I got Houston advancing.
I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
People have opinions about me, strong ones. Some compare my brand to the competition and call me a copycat. Some say that I'm just watered down, that I fall flat. I've heard it all. But the people who get me, they say I'm different, subtle, but balanced. Nothing to hide, nothing artificial. And once they give me a chance, they keep coming back for more. For more dad water. That's right, I'm talking about dad water, and I swear by it. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail made with real tequila. 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and gluten-free. Find Dad Water's 4 flavors in an 8-pack variety pack or single flavor 6-packs. Dad Water invites you to enjoy its great lineup of products all tournament long. Take it from me, Jeff Goodman. Sometimes the most polarizing things are the best things. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavors.
My guys, have you ever lifted just a little bit too hard and you forget to apply your daily deodorant and then get hit with a truckload of BO from all directions? From the founders of Lumi, Mando Whole Body Deodorant is helping men conquer their odor in a new way. Formulated with mandelic acid, Mando has long-lasting 72-hour odor control that actually stops odor before it starts. But the best part, you can put Mando anywhere, your pit, your packages, your feet, your skin folds, your back, your knees, everywhere. And to top it off, Mando's cologne quality scents were created with men in mind. Pro tip, try their best-selling scent, Bourbon Leather. Once you experience the fresher underarms, a fresher package, and fresher feet, you will never go back. There is a special offer now for new customers. You get $5 off their starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code F68 at shopmando.com. That's F68 at shopmando.com.
Let's head to the West. Let's head to the West region.
Unbelievable.
Maybe the most interesting region, the region with the most storylines. I'm going to go ahead and just pencil Florida in to the second round. And I'm going to pencil St. John's in to the second round because I can't see either of those teams losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament. UConn, Oklahoma. I told you this earlier. I think that this actually is a really good matchup for UConn because of some of the things that Oklahoma does. They play a lot. They run a lot of ball screens, right? They don't have much weak side action. They have a freshman that is inefficient but explosive. I think UConn finds a way to be able to get this one done, although it does not make me comfortable knowing how well Oklahoma has played in certain moments.
Well, one of the problems I have with Oklahoma is in this matchup is that it's not like their defense is taking you out of what you run. Their turnover margin is essentially even, Rob. A team that forces turnovers and creates some chaos with ball pressure is going to give UConn trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think they'll see in the second round. In the first round, they get past Oklahoma. They flex their muscles with experience. Alex Caravan wills Connecticut.
Memphis, Colorado State.
Well, I know we're divided on this, or at least I think we are. Colorado State has gone on an insane run. And there is a dynamic in the tournament. This is my favorite part of this thing. I love this event, and I love it for this reason. For the last 4 weeks, Colorado State refused to lose, for the most part, and found a way to get to this event. That's a huge credit to those kids for fighting their way, for Nick Clifford. I think Nico Medved, I hope he stays at Colorado State for as long as he possibly can, because I think it's a great program, and Fort Collins is magical. I really believe that. But if I'm a high major, if I'm Villanova right now, put him on the horn. Seriously. Mm-hmm. Seriously. And don't tell me that, well, because he was in the Mountain West, he can't win at the high major level. No. If anything, because he's in there, he can win at the high major level. Get out of here with that. There's so much great coaching in that league. Rob, I fell in love with Memphis early on. I think they're a team. They're another team that could they make the Sweet 16, or could they be out one and done? Of course. I am going to go with Memphis to win this game. I just think they're a little bit too athletic, and I think they've got too many dudes in the backcourt. And Haggerty and Hunter outduel Nick Clifford.
So I really, really liked Memphis when I was confident that Tyrese Hunter was going to be on the floor. And that's my biggest concern, is that there may not be a Tyrese Hunter appearance being made in the NCAA tournament. And if he doesn't play, I think that really limits them. And suddenly the best player on the floor is probably Nick Clifford. And it's a bigger gap between the other ones. So I'm going to take Memphis, and I'm going to go ahead and say, Fana, do you want to flip a coin? Do you have a coin?
Yeah.
While we wait for T.O.?
Yep.
Or you know what? Should we do rock, paper, scissors? Let's do
or
rock,
should
paper,
we have
scissors.
my wife make the pick?
Yes. Where's Vicky? Have her make the pick. She's T.O.'s pick until he comes back.
Vicky, Memphis or Colorado State? Memphis is sick from the other room.
Unbelievable.
But that's why, Rob, there's no, I want to tell our listeners, if you have a 15 over a 2, stand by it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just wear it proud.
Yep.
At the end of the day, none of us get anything for being right. I mean, we can. We're in bracket pools and whatnot. But, come on, man. It's for fun.
Maryland, Grand Canyon. I'm rolling with the Crab 5 here.
Crab 5. Too much. They're pissed off about the way that they ended in the Big Ten tournament. It's out in Seattle. I actually think it's helpful to some of these Big Ten teams that have had to go west.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't you think that could be helpful to Maryland? They've done it. They've done it.
They've experienced it.
Seattle for a game. Their experience. I like Maryland.
Mizzou or Drake? This is an interesting one. This is a tough
fascinating game because there's two teams I really like. If Mizzou didn't draw Drake, I would have taken Mizzou to potentially make a Sweet 16 because Caleb Grill is a stud. Bates has been fantastic, and they're tough, man. Dennis has done an amazing job with that program this year, and it's why he's gotten well-deserved, national coach of the year watch lists and whatnot. And they're fifth in the country in offense, but they are 73rd in defense. They're not a great defensive team. And Drake does get stops, and Rob, they play 364 in tempo. That's amazing because that's 364 out of 364. I love this Drake team, and I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to pick the Bulldogs.
So I thought that I was ready to have this be a shoo-in to be Drake. I talked to Randolph Childress about it, and Randolph Childress made the point that what Missouri does is they switch defensively, they switch in that man-to-man, and they force you to beat them in one-on-one situations. They don't let you run your offense. And I am a little bit worried about that with Drake. But I do think they'll be able to do enough because they are so good on the glass. They are so good at forcing turnovers, and I think that will cause Missouri enough problems that Drake gets it done. Drake might have lost to Kendrick Lamar, but he's going to knock off the Missouri Tigers. Texas Tech against UNCW.
What a pull by you.
Wreckham?
UNCW, special story. I really like Donovan Newby and Bo Montgomery. I do think it's an interesting one. I do think it's a ball game, but I'm going to go with Texas Tech in this one. I love the Red Raiders. I think that JT Toppin is primed for a huge march. Of the potential stars who could make their mark, he's one of them. They're long. They can defend anybody. Grant McCaslin is ready, and his team wins this game.
Yeah, I agree. Texas Tech. To me, Texas Tech is the team where it's like, okay, I wanted to put them in the Final Four, and then in the region they ended up in, it's very hard for me to do that. Kansas, Arkansas, the most interesting matchup of the first round, I think, between two guys that are Hall of Famers that have won national titles, Bill Self and John Calipari.
Yeah, I think we got 7 national championships in this region, which is just ridiculous.
It's a lot of national championships.
It's unbelievable. Look, this is going to come down to which team can find themselves from the perimeter. Like at some point, Rob, Kansas has to show, because I think Arkansas is going to say, you know what, we're going to try to control this game by making them shoot. And because we're a little younger and we go through some inconsistencies, you got to pick your poison. You don't want Hunter Dickinson to rule this game. I think Big Z's Ivanovic Ivisic is huge in this game. He's big in this game. Adu Thero can be the game breaker in this game. But I am going with Kansas to win and find a way, and I think they got it out.
I think T.O.'s face right now is my son's face whenever I keep beating him in FIFA.
Good job pick, Memphis or Colorado State?
Vicky picked Memphis. She was the tiebreaker.
Good. Colorado State's winning that game.
Well,
no Tyrese Hunter.
Can we, Vanna, is it what you're ruling here? Can T.O., that's the only one that we have that wasn't a sweep.
Go ahead, switch it. Go ahead.
You sure? Are you okay with this?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't want you.
Awesome.
No, it's all good. It's all good because then I have that for ammo.
You do. Oh shit, we might have set ourselves up here, T.O.
Yeah, there we go. No, for what? No, we're fine.
By the way, wait a minute. Who picked Colorado State to win the Mountain West tournament?
I think all of us did. I don't remember who did. I know I did. I can't remember. I know you did too, Fanta. But that was one of those ones where it's like you're only supposed to pick one from each league, and then we fucked up who picked who.
I think the graphic says I picked Colorado State. I think I was like 5 for 7 on that graphic.
I think the graphic was wrong. It is what it is. Kansas, Arkansas, T.O.
Gross. The whole game's gross.
Fun game, though. It's going to be fascinating. You got Kansas. Wow.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas. Like it's Bill Self. It's Bill Self.
I feel weird about sweeping it, man. I just do. I feel. Oh God, the second round game is going to be phenomenal. Oh man.
Florida, UConn, T.O.
Man, Florida looks like Florcon. Florida looks like a wagon. This is kind of testing everybody's theory of like conference champs doing poorly in the tournament. Like,
I'll tell you this: UConn won the tournament, the Big East tournament last year, and then won the NCAA tournament. Like, I think Florida's on that level. I, as the UConn fan on this podcast, this is absolutely terrifying, and I'm just going to go ahead and say, sorry, Husky fans, I got to do it. I'm gonna
pitchforks.
It's Florida's front line. It's Alex.
It's Florida's everything.
Yeah, but UConn to a degree can knock down some perimeter shots and hang around. What I think is going to cause problems is just the combo of Alex Condon, Ruben Chinyelu, and I've been saying Chinyelu, but I heard Shulman say Chinyelu all throughout the weekend, and then Thomas Hogg, who That kid's really tough, man. They are just, even when they put in Aberdeen unlocks a different dimension to that team. They're a freaking wagon.
Yep, I'm with you too. Colorado State and the Crab Five. TL, let's go to you first on that one.
Wow.
Colorado State and who? Sorry.
Maryland,
the Crab Five.
I think Maryland's going to get them because of Derek Queen.
Man, special.
And we lost TO again.
I fucking give up. I fucking give up. I don't know what to tell you. I can't do this shit.
All right, you're back.
Welcome back, man.
You're welcome back.
I'm about to just pull the plug on the whole thing and then call Spectrum Internet and cuss them out for an hour.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, let's get it done. We got 20 minutes left here. 20 minutes left.
I've got Maryland winning this ball game.
Me too. I got Maryland. Drake, Texas Tech. Ben McCollum versus Grant McCaslin. TO, give me something.
Texas Tech, because they do a lot of the same things, and I think Texas Tech's just going to be able to defensively wear them down, and they're going to be engaged.
Yep. Wreck 'em Tech, baby. Wreck 'em Tech.
Yep.
I'll take Drake.
Kansas and St. John's. I'll be honest. I don't see any way that Kansas competes in this one. I think they get absolutely run over.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, because I expect them to try to put an effort together. And St. John's goes through these first halves where they can be really cold offensively. You know, they were down 28-25 to Creighton, and then they took off. I think at halftime, there's going to be some folks that overreact. Honestly, one of your best wagers in this tournament could end up being St. John's second half, because the way that they play sometimes in the first half is not entirely convincing. But like, they scored 57 on Creighton in the second half. That's absurd. And they did it because they've got two guys who can break you down, RJ Lewis and Kadari Richmond. This is where, like, I like DeJuan Harris, but how does his frame hold up against St. John's guard play?
Not well.
That's a big, big problem.
It's the Zuby Ejiofor revenge game.
Oh, big. Well, he's got to play composed, though.
Yep.
You know,
good point.
You know who made the play? You can't overdo it. T.O., you know it. Sometimes your emotions get the best of you. You just wonder here if Rylan Griffin could get, I mean, if somebody for Kansas, somebody for the love of God could hit a three.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my Lord, like that's just been, it's been such a conundrum for them all season long. And I don't know how you saw it. Griffin's he's been flat out bad here down the stretch. We'll see.
Yep.
Zeke Mayo would be the key in that game.
Yep. I have
But I'll take St. John's.
So St. John's, Texas Tech. T.O., give me something.
War of attrition. Both teams great defensively. I'm going St. John's, though. Pitino, the story never ends. That's how good he's been. I think it's fun. I think it's entertaining. I think Texas Tech is a really good team. I think they stop at the Sweet 16 because the Fighting Rick Pittinos are going to advance on.
I'm taking Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I think Texas Tech, they have the shooting. I think they have enough ball handlers to be able to make this work. And I think that JT Toppin is going to outplay Zuby Ejiofor at the 5. They're kind of the same role, same kind of player, same kind of position. I'm going Tech. Wreck 'em Tech.
Well, Texas Tech showed their toughness by outwilling Houston at Houston. And that's a really good win, evidence when you can play St. John's, because St. John's is reminiscent in playing style to Houston. And Texas Tech had to score 82 in that game. Mm-hmm. So Texas Tech can limit you offensively, but they also can score it themselves in a game where you need to. Like, the concern with St. John's is, do they succumb to Texas Tech's toughness and physicality eventually in the game? Do they just and Texas Tech guys can score on St. John's because like you said, they got the length. But sometimes things in March don't always make all the sense in the world. And I think that Aaron Scott would be an X factor to this game, as would Davon Smith's ability to generate some burst. Davon Smith's got to give St. John's something here. He's important. Johnny's win. I'm with Terrence Oglesby. We break the tie.
Let's go.
Florida, Maryland. I'm taking the Gators.
I love Maryland's run, but I'm going to take Florida. Although, if those two brands meet in the tournament, man, would that be phenomenal for college hoops. Those are two passionate fan bases that need a matchup like that.
Mm-hmm. So which gives us Todd Golden and the Florida Gators against Rick Pitino and the St. John's Red Storm for the right to go to the Final Four. Terrence, talk to me.
Unbelievable.
I think Florida, because they just have so many options offensively, and I think Condon's a freaking problem. Like not only are they going to be able to withstand that pressure because they have so many different guys that could handle it, but I just feel like, man, they just Tennessee on the glass. Like people don't Tennessee's people to other people. So like for them to be able to do that to them was so impressive. And I think they have enough shot making that they can withstand, St. John's pressure.
That game, if that happens, that game is going to be an absolute bloodbath on the boards. It's going to be incredible. Like it's going to be so big and so physical. Those guys are going to be fighting.
That's a send the officials home game.
Yes.
Just send them home. Let's let the two teams on the floor decide it. I will go with Florida because I think Florida's the best team in the country.
Owning property in the state of Texas is difficult enough. Paying taxes on your property should not make your life any more complicated. Ownwell believes that when it comes to paying property taxes, you should only pay what's fair. In under 3 minutes, you can sign up and have their team of Texas experts start saving you money without a single upfront cost. It's easy. When you sign up, you get an instant estimate of the tax savings they can get you so that when that property tax bill comes due, the amount that you have to fork over to Uncle Sam isn't quite as painful. Put property tax money back in your pocket in just minutes. 86% of customers receive a reduction with an average savings of more than $1,100. Imagine how much less stress you'll have in your life knowing that you could take some of the money that you have earmarked for the IRS and spend it on, an 85-inch flat screen to watch March Madness. The deadline to protest is May 15th for most Texas counties. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your protest today at ownwell.com/CBB. That's OWNWELL.com/CBB. March Madness is here, and you know what that means. Buzzer beaters, high stakes hoops, and it's a time where legends are made. In other words, it is time to wear Chubbies. Pretty good segue, right? Chubways has mastered the art of stylish casual wear that doesn't skimp out on performance or durability. Whether it's their bright, stretchy polos, their iconic thigh-exposing shorts, or their one-of-a-kind swim trunks. It's the perfect threads to wear as you helplessly watch your bracket predictions fail. Watching games with your friends, Chubby's original shorts gives you that classic feel with a modern look. You hitting the gym to make up for all the pizza, wings, and beer that you consumed in the last 4 days? Chubby's ultimate training shorts are built to sweat. And to sweeten the deal for you, for just a limited time, Chubby's is giving all of our listeners 20% off your order with the exclusive code F68. So use code F68 at chubbysshorts.com. That's chubbysshorts.com. I have been looking for the best deal on March Madness tickets, which is why I want to give the sponsor of today's show, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads and more than 70,000 events available. Now that March Madness is here, SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated so you know if it's a good deal with that little green dot, and it's backed by a buyer guarantee. You can get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek with code FIELD-of68. That's code FIELD-of68.
Yep, I agree. All right.
Can we get madness?
Time to head to TO's. Time to head to TO's region. We're heading to the South, where I think things can get a little bit weird here, guys. I'm penciling Auburn in right now. I don't think Auburn gets picked off in the first round. I'm penciling in Michigan State. I think Bryant is maybe my favorite pick to cover as a 15 seed. I just don't think they have enough to beat Michigan State, but they got some dudes on that team.
Earl Timberlake, I had a game with them earlier this season. Like, they're big enough to compete. They have depth that they can come off the bench, and they're still big enough to compete. I think it's going to be hard, but I also think that they can get to a point to where they control tempo. because Earl Timberlake is that good. Like, this was a top 30 player in the country coming out of his class, and he's never really found a spot. He's found it at Bryant. He's really good. I think they can cover. I don't know what the spread's going to be, but I think they can cover.
It's 18.5. I think
we'll cover.
Louisville, Creighton in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Regrettable situation there that Louisville's an 8 seed. 18-2 in, like, what are we doing? I understand the grab of like, hey, let's keep them in Kentucky. So it's going to be a Kentucky home game. It's going to be a Kentucky home game. Like, that's the big thing. But I actually think Louisville wins this game, but I think they're going to have to find a way to deal with Kalkbrenner and Ashworth.
How is Creighton a 9?
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. I really don't like that at all. I mean, that team has put together results. And, oh, by the way, they beat St. John's. Oh, by the way, they went out and they beat Kansas. They beat Marquette. They beat UConn twice. And they're a 9? Really? Damn, man. I mean, that to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when UConn's an 8. Yep. Creighton beat UConn twice. Do the results matter or not? I think this to me, the one concern I would have for Louisville is the nerves. You're back in the tournament. Now you're the home team. I think
is Rain going to play?
What's that?
Rain's going to play. Rain Smith.
Elite point guard matchup. Outstanding. Will Louisville have too many scoring threats? Because Creighton relies on 3 guys, essentially. Ashworth, Kalkbrenner, and Neal. If Neal plays well, then I think that he's dangerous in this. He could be the game breaker in this game. I'm going to pick Creighton to make it interesting because Kalkbrenner's the ultimate matchup nightmare.
I'm taking Creighton as well.
What?
I've been on Louisville the entire season. I think this is I don't like this matchup for Louisville. So much of what they want to do is from beyond the arc, and
they're out.
And the way that Creighton defends is they'll go over every single one of those screens. They're going to funnel everything into the paint, into those mid-range games. And I think that Ryan Kalkbrenner in and around the rim is a game changer.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest Louisville fan on the planet that doesn't actually live in the city of Louisville.
Who's Louisville going to put on Kalkbrenner?
I think Kalkbrenner.
It's going to be James Scott. They're just going to have to rely on a lot of movement, ball pressure, those things.
Remember, Ryan doesn't foul.
Yeah,
also a big point. But they do have the ability to pull him out.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on the matchup.
He doesn't really come out, so they should capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Michigan, UC San Diego, guys. I am taking UC San Diego. I'm just putting it out there. It's the chalky pick. It's the obvious pick. They force turnovers. The issue that Michigan has is they turn the ball over so damn much. And UC San Diego forces a ton of turnovers. Michigan just played 3 games in 3 days to win the Big Ten tournament, and now it's to turn around and travel to play a 10-10 game, a late night game against a West Coast team on Thursday. So I'm taking UCSD.
How do you pronounce it? Aniwaniwa?
Aniwa.
That's awesome.
Aniwa Tate Jones. He's going to be we're going to talk about this tonight, fan. He's my pick to be the breakout mid-major star of this year's tournament.
Aniwa. Can't wait for Charles Barkley to say it because I've been
Jones.
Butchering it myself. I was calling him Aniwanawa.
Aniwa.
Aniwa is going to have a big tournament, but it's not just him, guys. Like that for me. What makes them dangerous?
Well, here, save this for the next game because
I got the tournament.
I think Texas A&M loses to Yale.
Oh, no way.
I think we have 2 12-13 games. Here's my theory, and tell me why you think I'm crazy.
Love Yale.
Yale is very good on the backboards. They are elite when it comes to avoiding turnovers, and they force you to take tough threes.
Yeah, right? Maybe against Dartmouth.
They are 359th. There's only 4 teams in America that forces opponents to shoot more threes than Yale forces their opponents to shoot. Texas A&M cannot shoot threes. They can't do it. They don't have good shooters.
Yeah,
And
but they
guys that
still
take a lot
shoot
of
them.
them.
That's the funny thing about them. They still shoot them. They just fire them up there like, we're going to go get it.
Yeah, they'll go get it. And Yale is very good at keeping teams from getting onto the offensive glass. So I think that this is a matchup where if you're Yale, the matchup that you wanted are those teams in that like kind of 4 or 5 seed range was Texas A&M, because your strengths match up very well with taking away what Texas A&M does best. So I'm taking Yale there. Probably the savvier play would be to just pick Texas A&M to win and bet on Yale to cover. But I'm taking Yale to win, man. I like to live dangerously. Every month should be March, T.O. We don't take chalk around here unless it's a 1 seed.
If every month was March, I'd be old as shit. Texas A&M, I have them winning, and not only winning in my bracket, I got them in San Antonio.
Wow, that is the shocker of the podcast right there, man.
Yep.
You trust them offensively?
I trust that the type of game that is played in the NCAA tournament is conducive to what they do.
Wow.
This dude said one time I picked Miami to go to the Final Four and got it right, and now I am just going to pick that. Now anyone I see, I'm going to connect those dots.
Oh yeah.
If Texas A&M makes the Final Four, I quit. I'm giving you you can have my shirt. Fans, break the tie. Yale or Texas A&M?
Well, I always pick the Ivy League champ. So guess what, T.O.?
Get out of here, T.O.
I'm taking Yale for the
I've just been outruled twice. Damn.
San Diego State, North Carolina. All right.
Yeah. Next.
San Diego State, North Carolina. No one else is going to vote here. You get to pick. It's all you. You
Which
get to
one?
decide. San Diego State, North Carolina. Who advances?
Oh, gross. I actually think it's San Diego State wins.
Yeah, Aztecs, baby. So San Diego State against your boy Chris Beard. You love those Rebels.
San Diego State.
Yes, I'm in there too. SDSU. Sorry, Fanta, you don't get a pick in this one. But you do get a pick in Iowa State. Can Lipscomb beat Iowa State without Sean Gilbert?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
And Lipscomb?
I'm gonna take Lipscomb. I'm gonna retract here on the podcast to make it a little bit interesting. Let me tell you why. Jacob Ognisevich, averaging 20 and 8 per game. This kid is an absolute stud. Joe Anderson could shoot the 3. Here he is. There's the man, Damon.
Big Dame.
Yeah.
All right, Big Dame. Here, he's going to make this pick.
Spicy.
Iowa State or Lipscomb? Who you got?
Clemson.
Lipscomb.
Who is the other team?
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Or Lipscomb.
I have no clue which team it is, so I'm going with Iowa State.
Iowa State. There you go. Sorry,
I'm
Fanta,
going
you
with
just got-
Lipscomb. Will Pruitt.
We got 14.
Yeah.
14 seed going through. Marquette, New
Lipscomb.
Mexico. Cam Jones against Donovan Dent. It'll probably be Cam Jones against, Donovan Dent against Stevie Mitchell, but I don't care. I'm going Cam Jones against Donovan Dent. We talk about the headlines here, T.O. Give me
I'm going New Mexico just because they have been so good all year, and there's been some inconsistencies with Marquette. I love everybody up at Milwaukee. Please don't be mad at me, but I'm going New Mexico.
I'm taking Marquette. I'm sorry, guys.
Go ahead,
Taking
Fanta,
Marquette.
Big East guy. Let's go.
I'm going to take New Mexico.
Oh! Dagger to the heart.
Don't ever say something about John Fanta not being a truth teller.
He's
Don't
a
you
truth
ever?
teller.
Don't you dare.
Then they'll get
Here's my hot take.
Yeah.
Here's my hot take. Creighton beats Auburn in the second round of the NCAA tournament.
I have Louisville beating Auburn in the second round. But sure.
I have Creighton beating Auburn. Because I think the way that you beat Auburn is you force Janai Broom to try to beat you one-on-one in the post. And I think what they'll do is they'll force Janai Broom to try to beat Kalkbrenner one-on-one in the post, and he won't be able to do it. So I'm taking Creighton. Are you taking Creighton too, T.O.?
John, where are you going?
I'm going with Auburn in this game. I just think that they can
It's all on you.
beat up
a lot
Creighton.
of pressure. A lot of
beat
pressure,
up
Terrence.
Creighton's offense, really pressure Stephen Ashworth. Creighton needs half-court basketball to win a game like this. I understand that Kalkbrenner can cause issues for Broom, but I think Chad Baker, Mazzara, and Tahad Pettiford opens up this game, and Auburn finds a way by 8.
I agree with that. I'm going Auburn.
Son of a beast thing. All right,
I'm
Fanta,
so crazy.
UC San Diego. Who you got?
Well, I mean, I've got the Tritons in my individual bracket. I ain't backing down now, man. I'm going to go down with them all the way. I'm going with UC San Diego.
All right, I'm taking them too. T.O., you don't get a
Iwa.
vote. But you do get a vote on San Diego State against Lipscomb.
Man, that shaped up well for them. This is not going to happen now. Now I feel I will say Will Pruitt is so good, he's going to be able to keep it from turning it over against San Diego State. San Diego State.
I got San Diego State as well. 2 San Diego teams.
How about Mountain West Elite Sweet 16 there?
Yeah.
For me anyway, not for you guys.
Yeah, well, I have San Diego State there. Michigan State, New Mexico. Can Richard Pitino do it? Can Richard Pitino knock off Tom Izzo? I'm taking Michigan State.
No way, man. Michigan State.
I have Michigan State in my own bracket too, but it fired me up a little bit.
You just knew that we were both going to go with Michigan State, so yeah.
Michigan State, because of everything they could take away defensively. Like they're going to surround Donovan Dent.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to surround him, and Kohler can handle the physicality. I will say this: Nelly Jr. Joseph's going to make a name for himself this week.
Yeah, he might average 15 rebounds.
Well, he's the problem against Marquette. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
Do either of the San Diego teams, can San Diego State beat Michigan State? Can UCSD beat Auburn? Can either of them win? T.O., can either of the San Diego teams win?
Oh.
No and no.
Well, I picked the Tritons to shock the world in Atlanta, to absolutely shock the world. And and a lot of people are like, your bracket's boring. I literally picked UC San Diego to upset Auburn. What more do you want in a bracket other than that would be the upset of the tournament? So I guess I'll be the game breaker and pick UC San Diego.
I am taking Auburn to win that game, and I am taking Michigan State to beat San Diego State. But I will take Michigan State to beat Auburn. I think Michigan State gets past Auburn and gets to the Final Four.
Spartan.
I think that's the kind of matchup that will work. They have enough big bodies to throw a broom. I think that is going to end up being the Jace Richardson game, which lefty freshman is going to make more ridiculous step back threes. Tahad Pettiford or Jace Richardson. I'm taking Jace Richardson, T.O.
That's going to be a hell of a game. Jace Richardson's completely opened up Michigan State. I think he's been the singular factor that's kind of you need a guy to really step up and hit a shot just so everybody else feels like, hey, it is possible. He's been that for Michigan State. Auburn.
It's all on you, Fanta. It is all on you. Michigan State or Auburn?
In year 30 at the helm, Tom Izzo goes 2019 against Zion and wins.
Hey, look, I'm with you, man. I think that is exactly what's going to end up happening. T.O. sitting here like every single time I pick something, I get overruled. I think it's me and Fanta.
You know we're going to be wrong.
I know. Yeah. All right, we have two.
What makes this thing so much fun?
What's funny is T.O. loved Michigan State all year.
Yeah, he did. You picked him to win the Big Ten championship.
I mean, hell, I got him in the Elite Eight, guys. Not like I stopped.
How are you bailing on your guys right now? This is
by the way,
this is even worse. This is a worse betrayal than me betraying Louisville and picking Creighton.
You know what's interesting though? None of us trust the 4 and 5s. We don't. Nobody does. None of these national people trust the 4 or 5. If they have an upset, it's the 8 or 9. Nobody trusts the 4 or 5. I'm telling you. I mean, it's a good debate, Rob. When we're doing After Dark, we've got to debate it. If you have a 4 or 5 making it, we got to pick one tonight on the show when we're taping here. Because I have not, with the exception of Clark Kellogg taking Clemson, I haven't seen one 4 or 5 in a Final Four. Not one.
Yep, I agree. Michigan State or Florida, and then Duke against Houston. I'm sorry, Sparty. This is where the party ends.
Yeah,
I think Florida by 15 in that matchup.
Yeah, because they do all the same stuff. They just do it better.
Yeah.
That's basically what it comes down to.
Gators.
Gators.
I think Houston is going to be the toughest matchup that Duke gets in this tournament.
I agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. Yeah, you know what? I do agree with that because it'll be the last matchup they get. Houston takes down Duke.
Ooh, I got Duke winning.
I got Houston, man. I think the toughness of those guards, the interior presence of Roberts, and the game being played in San Antonio, with a Cougars heavy crowd that represents. I think it would be a scene, and I'm going to go with Kelvin Sampson to advance the national title game. He's due.
So who are the two teams? We got Houston and
Duke.
You got to pick one.
Duke.
Sorry, Fanta.
All right, here we go, man.
It sets up a Duke Florida Final Four, which honestly,
ironically enough, that's what I have on my personal bracket.
yeah,
Duke,
that's what I want too. Like I want to see that game. I want to see that matchup. And I if they played right now, Duke would be a 1.5 favorite. So it's more or less a pick 'em.
Yeah.
So make
Where do you think? How many points would go up in that game? End of the tournament, last game of the year. Whew. That's
It could be, it could be like 145 points.
140. I'm going 151.
Yep. Make a pick.
And,
who you got?
Go ahead.
Oh,
No.
Duke. I've stayed with Duke. I've thought Duke was going to win since before the season started. Duke.
Well, I took Florida in my bracket, so I'm going with Florida. It all comes down to you.
2 conference champions.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can pick
both
against
in
Cooper
dominant
Flag right
faction.
now. I don't know how you can pick against Cooper Flag. I think Duke.
There it is.
Too dominant. I think they find a way to get it. But that is if we have an ideal national championship game, it'll be that one. There it is, fellas. The DTF bracket. I'm going to upload this into a graphic. We're going to put it into the pools that we do, and we'll see how well we do against you guys. If you want to prove you're smarter than us, get into the Field of 68 bracket pool. I'll put a link in the description. Field of 68 Survivor, $25 per 25 entry max. Get in there, 40K up top if we fill it out. Appreciate you guys being here. T.O., if you need me to call Spectrum, I got your back, man.
Dude, Spectrum's killing me. Get out of here, Fanta. You got to go.
Let's dance.
See you next week.